My name is Rob Love, the Wolfer Radio, and you're listening to Debatable Truths, where all truths are debatable, objectivity prevails, and mediation occurs. Joining me in the Wolf Pack today are CB, Big D, aka D, Riley, aka Finger, and Coop. Today in this Gentleman's Club, we're going to give you a male's perspective on topics such as what does being head of the household mean? Is there a difference between cheating and being faithful? Spouses watching porn, and secret versus privacy. Let's go. When a woman is alone, she runs her household. But when a man is present, who do we consider a head of a household with two parents, one male, one female, traditionally?
From my perspective, it does not matter whether I'm the breadwinner, she's the breadwinner, or we both work. I'm the head of household. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I look at it as I'm the decider in chief, and
Okay.
the ultimate decision falls on me. The responsibility for my family falls on me. Um, my wife makes decisions, and if it is a decision that I differ on, we can discuss. I can give or I can take, but ultimately, I'm going to make the final decision if we differ and I feel strongly enough about it. It
Okay.
doesn't mean that I have to make all the decisions, but it's just that all the ultimate decisions fall on me. The success or failure of my family, quote unquote, falls on me.
In my family, when I hear the term head of household, I think of the person that who has the responsibility of providing, and that can be, of course, just financial and physical protection for your family members. But I think as a black man, as a father, that goes a couple levels deeper. And I think sometimes we look at it as, hey, who's providing the finances and who's paying the bills and things of that nature and protection. But there's also a need to have emotional bonds with people in your home as well. And I think that can be applied to whoever, whatever that makeup, whether it's the nuclear, the modern family, or if it's, another mixture of folks. I mean, I think it applies all over.
My mother is the head of the household, and not necessarily because my dad is whipped, but my mother just grew up aggressive and intimidating as hell. So I would say it's a personality thing, which would then cover the gay and lesbian and other categories. You know what I'm saying? Like some people's personality is they're gonna run it, they're gonna make decisions, they're gonna want things to be a certain way. They're more particular. If the other person's not as particular, then they're going to slide back and say, "All right, you got it. You're the one that care about it. You can take care of it."
So in that example, it seems like the most dominant person or the domineering presence is the person that appears to be running the household, vice in the traditional sense, which CB was explaining. The man is the head of the household, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now I was raised with grandma alone, however, with the traditional concept, which is if a male is present, the male is the head of the household, although the woman runs the household. Coop, what say you? We've heard different perspectives.
Right. I'm with CB. The man is always going to be the head of the household. I've taken that provider and protector, and that was actually which is how we run my household. You know what I'm saying? Now I've come from a single parent home where my mom, raised me and what have. But even in raising me, that's what she actually instilled in me as, and from a child, that's always something that she actually told me how to be when I grew up to be a man.
And that's real. And that's a whole different road we can go down when talking about how does a woman raise a man. Some people say it's not possible. You don't learn how to be a man from a woman, but I'd like to believe that I turned out to be a pretty manly man, and as well as learned, I guess, the different values of respecting women in the process. All right, Finger. So having a domineering female presence in the household, does that change your perspective on how you felt your father was to you? Did he have a different title to you because ultimately you thought that your mom was the head of the household. So what does that make you feel about your father's presence? And does that change his masculinity at all from your viewpoint?
What it did to me, especially as I got older, is it showed me a different way of how a man supports his woman and his household.
Right on.
So my dad is real chill, doesn't get bothered by a lot of stuff. My mom gets worked up. So probably on the front, on the cursory level, everyone's like, oh, okay, so she's running it because she's the one, she's running the mouth. She's like, we got to do this, we got to do that. But when she breaks behind closed doors, he's the one that's always constant. So
Right.
I see that. So when I get into it with my girl, you know, like she can go off or whatever, I'm holding it consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I learned from my dad is I don't always have to be front and center saying this is what's going to happen. I can give her room to decide or do whatever. But when everything falls apart, I am what she needs to rely on. I am what my family needs to rely on. So maybe that's how I would see the head of the household. So I'm kind of going back.
All right.
To
so that kind of, that did kind of shift a little bit more to the perspective that I gave earlier with a woman running the household while the man being the head of the household. But you still gave kind of an example of him really being the backbone in that relationship because she knew he's going to be available for her in her time of need, whether she's out front visibly. She still felt that he was probably essentially the head of that household. To me, sounds like we are all in agreement that if we're talking in a traditional sense, the male would be the head of the household and serve as a provider.